a blast from the past right there. That was our very first intro that was done, and it was kind of cool. We've actually tailored that thing and got it more fresh, but I couldn't find that joint because our producer is not around today. So I just brought the old school joint back tonight, and hey, man, that brought back some memories, man. It was a good day to record that. So, welcome to Skinny Black's Lounge. My name is Rob, aka Skinny Black. I am your host, and to my right.
That intro was black on, Negro operated. JT, period is silent. Hi, mom.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we thank all of you who are tuning in, wherever you may be tuning in worldwide. I heard it might be some opportunities for some cats that's on the continent that's tuning in. You know, hey, welcome. We got a pretty dope topic tonight. It might get a little heated, but like we always do about this time, suck a shit.
Man, I was thinking.
Uh-oh.
So, how important my family is to me. That means everything to me. I was raised, man. They say it takes a village. Well, I really had one, I really have one. I should say, not
Sure.
had.
You still got that.
So my uncle, who was one of my heroes, second greatest man, um, that I've ever been associated with, the greatest being his father, my grandfather. And no disrespect to my biological father, rest in peace. But my uncle is in my phone as dad. That's how close we are. And that's how much I revere and honor him. So he hosts family dinners and I get invited, as a, nephew son, you know. So we were there and he was talking about his high school days. And we'll make a long story short, he was telling a story about how he led a little protest in school.
What?
Yeah, which if you know him, it's like crazy, right? Um, that's why you say what? And then, but anyway, so he's telling the story. But then he got home, and my grandfather, God bless his soul, he said he set him down, and he thought that he was gonna get a beating, but instead he got a speech. And my grandfather laid it heavy on him,
Mm.
talked about how he worked at the post office and what he thought that my uncle could be in life. He said, my uncle said by the time he was done, he was promising my my grandfather that he would never make another mistake in life again. And it made me think about the power of words,
Mm.
right? Words are powerful, man. Words move countries into war. Words have changed. You think about the civil rights movement, yeah, there was action, but it was sparked by words. Folks gathering and they get in that spirit. Words. You go to church in the spirit. Words, right? And society knows this, and the powers that be knows this. So what they've done is they've manipulated words that should be inspiring, and now it's used against us.
Speak on.
And there's phrases that we repeat over and over again, right? But if you go a thimble deep in it, them words don't mean that.
Mm.
Let's think about it. You could be whatever you want to be. That's not true. That's not true,
It's not true.
brother. Or it's not successful. It's not a solid plan. Okay, let me put it to you this way. I spent some of my young life studying to be an amateur gynecologist.
I mean,
That's not a successful life plan.
but you were
But I,
successful at that.
but I couldn't be what I wanted to be. There's a dude at the gym right now, man, shooting 1,000 jumpers a day. You 5'7", white, slow, and can't jump. That jump shot could be as wet as you want. You're not gonna be in the damn NBA. They not calling. You need a plan B. Okay. And maybe
Mm.
as an amateur gynecologist, I needed a plan B too. But that's something totally different. Right. What I'm getting at is there's an entire industry around telling you things that you want to hear and phrases and sayings, but they don't mean anything, right?
Mm. Mm.
And they have manipulated us into thinking that things are real that are fake. Let me give you an example. It's a whole bunch of black folks that think The Color Purple was a documentary.
Yes.
That is nonfiction. That shit wasn't real. What? Think about it this way, man. Where were these sprawling properties that black men owned down south? You mean to tell me they burned down Black Wall Street and massacred people in Rosewood, but Mister's plantation was safe and sound? That makes sense to you?
He obviously wasn't a threat.
But let them. That's what I'm saying. But let them tell the story, right? We we get sold all kinds of stuff. There's a segment of the internet right now that's telling brothers, well, if you're not 6 foot tall,
Mm.
you don't got no chance with women. I'm the tallest I ever been. I'm 5'9". I ain't never had no problem in that department,
Right.
right? I'm sure I've been ruled out, but I'm like Kobe. I only count the shots I make, so it don't matter. There's men that have become millionaires, very successful, telling women what they want to hear. The words don't mean anything.
Mm.
I'm not naming names, but they tell you you perfect just the way you are. Well, that's contradictory to humanity because none of us are born perfect. So none of us are perfect the way we are. You know what? He just wasn't man enough for you. Does the flip side of that? You wasn't woman enough for him?
Ooh.
See what these dudes are and what the world is, they seedless watermelon. So you go to the market and you got the little seedless watermelons, the minis, they look just like a watermelon. They smaller. They look like it, right? And you bite in and it tastes like a watermelon. It's not as good as a watermelon, but it's good enough. But what people don't know about seedless watermelons is that they're engineered because you can't have fruit without seeds.
Mm.
Because how do you replenish the fruit without the seeds? So what you getting fed in this life, you may get full and you may be satisfied, but it's not nourishing and it can't reproduce.
Wow.
You Color Purple documentary seedless watermelon niggas is on some sucker shit.
Ooh. Wow. Thank you for dropping that, brother. That was profound like always, my man. Um, Thank you, sir. So as we get into the proceedings this evening, man, we're just gonna hop into this thing, man. So I was thinking about this earlier as trying to figure out what we're gonna talk about today. And I heard someone I heard one talk about Black success and Black excellence? And is it a, a Black wash version of white success? Hmm. So, so we said we want to be free, but look at us. We got our own degrees, we got our own titles, we got the houses, the zip codes, we meditate, we go to therapy, we eat clean. We done hustled our way into rooms our fathers couldn't get into. And somehow we still don't fully trust each other. That's another piece. We're still performing, assimilating, still chasing excellence like it's gonna save us. So tonight we're gonna ask, who are we really becoming? Did we define excellence as Black folk, or are we chasing someone else's definition of excellence that's colored Black to make it look like us, but it's not something that we came up with on our own. It's not something that we defined on our own, and it's not something that we chose. So did we trade one plantation for another, calling it progress? What you think, brother?
Let me start off by saying this is the first time I ever made this announcement. I get on here with my brother every week and I talk, but I have no idea what the topic's gonna be. My brother trying to start some shit tonight,
Yes, sir.
and I'm all in. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
First, before we get into too deep into your question, let's start by saying everything we call excellence isn't excellent.
Mm. Say more. Go deeper.
It's a whole lot of mediocre people claiming to be excellent. The system was so outrageous and in your face before that you truly had to be excellent
Yep.
as a Black person to get ahead. So, Black excellence, say in the 1960s, 50s, 40s, really meant Black excellence. When we came out of the war and Reconstruction,
Mm-hmm.
I want people to go research the Black literacy rates,
That's
the
right.
Black ownership rates, the Black wealth rates, and how they all rose, right? We that's Black excellence, right? No disrespect to my brothers that have been locked up and this, and that, but your GED is not excellence. It is a stepping stone to
Mm-hmm.
excellence. The bar has been lowered, and there's reasons for that, but we've also accepted it. So that term Black excellence, you know,
Yeah.
slow down. You know, I'm happy you graduated, and I celebrate everybody that graduated, but C's for degrees was not Black excellence.
That's the chant. C's for degrees.
Maybe yeah, C's for my, it was magna cum laude, summa cum laude, and thank you cum laude. That graduated, thank you cum laude.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thank
I'm
you,
out.
Lord.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Thank you to that last sociology professor that put me over the top.
Appreciate you.
So, but to get into to get into what you're asking, um, this is what I'm hearing, and you can tell me, correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I will turn this around on you just for clarity.
Yes, sir.
Are you proposing that we don't have an identity, a foundation of what Black success looks like because all we do is compare ourselves to white people?
Yes.
That's all you got? Yes. I will.
Would you like a deeper explanation?
Yes, please, sir.
Yeah. So when we talk, I remember when I first heard about Carter G. Woodson, and I first heard about W.B. Du Bois. the first two things they said about either one of those gentlemen were about where they got their PhDs, right? Which was Harvard. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. That must be the litmus test that folks are saying that they were excellent because they graduated and got this highest level of their education from so-called Ivy Leagues, so-called Ivy Tower of education. And so, and now as I live my life and gone to an HBCU and son is graduating from HBCU, your daughter's at an HBCU, got family, friends, people I grew up with all went to HBCUs, and we know the data says that most of the cats with advanced degrees got the undergraduate degrees at HBCUs. And so when I think about this comparison, I'm like, at some point, this is my own thinking. Why don't we just stay at the HBCU? Maybe they didn't have a graduate program. Maybe not. But obviously, what these folks use Stillman as an example, undergraduate school, Stillman HBCU in Alabama, have a 99% acceptance to pre-professional school. So 99% of the students that apply for any pre-professional school, law school, med school, vet school, you name it, whatever, MBA, whatever it is, 99% of those students get accepted. That's excellence to me, right? And that's not in comparison to anyone else. That stands on its own. So I'm thinking, man, do we not have enough med schools, Meharry's and Howard Law and Tuskegee vet schools enough to say we don't have to go to Harvard or Princeton or Yale to say that we're excellent? Why are we comparing or using those schools as the basis? So, yes, to answer your question.
Okay, so um, two things. Uh, First of all, the first thought is a little bit of no, no. Let me say this first. Even if you go to advanced degrees, the number one supplier to predominantly white institutions for advanced degrees for Black people are the HBCU. So even if you leave an HBCU, they're the number one supplier. I did not plan this, but it ties into what I was talking about in the beginning. Is that the power of words because they create the narrative,
Mm.
right? And what HBCUs have, they don't have a good publicist because because
Jeez.
black folks don't even know what they've done for Black people, right? For I don't care,
Outside of the people who attend them.
right? But
Yeah,
hold up, outside of the people who attend them, but what is the percentage of the Black population that goes to college? Forget graduation rates,
good point.
that goes to college.
Good point.
So less than 20% of Black men and about 30% of Black women have college degrees. Okay. So let's do this. Just for shits and giggles, let's add 15% on those numbers and
Mhm.
do attendance. Right?
Mhm.
That's that, I'm not the best at math, but I'm just saying that means 60% of our population haven't attended any college. Not HBCU, not just any college, right? So how do we get that message to 60% of our people who have dreams of their children going to college, even though they didn't? My mother, postal worker, her dream was for her children to go to USC, fight on Mighty Trojans. Proud to love me and my sister. We did it. However, when I even brought up the subject of HBCU to her, she was like, "You gonna go in the black world? Then why you gonna go to a black school?" And based on the information she had,
Right.
she wasn't wrong. She didn't have the information on what HBCUs had produced,
Right.
and and in that way, they have failed in publicity, right?
Agreed. Agreed. I would agree with that.
Even though I have a degree from a white institution, which I think is the finest institution in the land. Thank you very much. However, my daughter, like you said, is at an HBCU. My son, he went to a Catholic university. It was his choice. But I was open to the possibility. And the funny thing is, a lot of parents that graduated from white institutions are far more open to HBCUs because of their college experience,
Because of their experience. Right. Yep.
right? And that's what I mean by like this information needs to get passed down. Sometimes as black folks, we act like we guarding some kind of secret that's only for us.
Hmm.
I talk about my daughter's at Tuskegee. I talk about Tuskegee like I went to the damn thing. I
I love
tell
it.
people, I tell people my job, I'll be telling Middle Eastern dudes about Tuskegee. Okay.
I love it.
White, black, whoever, right? And they be like, what is that? I said, it's the number one school that produces black veterinarians in the country. And you
Yeah.
should see people's eyes when I say that. Really? Okay. Black engineer, chances are North Carolina A&T,
Alabama A&M.
Alabama A&M, right? But see, once you put that in the atmosphere, and then you could build a different narrative,
Yep.
right? So the answer, at least in my head, to your question or to what you propose is absolutely yes. We have white folks as the standard, right? Because we haven't set the standard as a community for ourselves.
Mm.
So
Mm.
so since there is no standard holistically, I'm talking about all as a community.
Yeah.
There's individual pockets, but I'm
Yep.
saying as a community, this is what we stand on, right?
That's a good point.
And I get it because of our history and our struggle. We don't want to like shun anything. We believe in redemption. We believe in all of those things. And I still do, right? But in honor of my late grandfather, I'm gonna call a spade, as he used to say. How can you redeem if you can't acknowledge that it needs redemption?
Oof. Powerful. Powerful.
This is the standard. You're falling below the standard. We're not giving up on you, but you're not living up to it.
Mm. Here's what I
So,
noticed.
yes, yes, we follow Pink Feet.
More than one way, unfortunately. Here's what I noticed. The difference. But first thing I'll say this: there's so many HBCUs in my home state of Alabama that it's extremely difficult for Black folk not to be educated if they want to, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is the second part of that is when you have classics, especially the Magic City Classic, A&M plays Alabama State every year. And even though A&M is in Huntsville and State is in Montgomery, they would play the game in Birmingham before A&M got this beautiful new stadium.
Wait a minute, hold
Um,
on for a second. Hold on, just real quick.
they would play it in Birmingham. Yeah, go ahead.
Wait a minute, hold on, just real quick. You said that shit like everybody know the geography of goddamn Alabama.
I'll
You
explain.
country ass. No, hold on, hold on. No,
I'll
you'll
explain.
explain it,
First of
but no,
all,
you
watch
was
your
just
mouth now,
flowing.
man.
No, you said it
You
like,
ain't have to
we was in
name drop.
LA. We was in LA and then we went to New York and stopped off in Chicago. But don't nobody know where Huntsville, the distance between Huntsville and Montgomery. Nobody know that.
Okay, it's fine. It's two separate cities.
No, I'm
And
just trying to listen.
I
No, no,
got you. I'm gonna
one
explain
more.
it. I'm gonna explain
No,
it.
you got to explain it. But let me just set the tone for this. And I want you this in your head. We didn't grow up playing the spoons. We were born free. So you got to explain. To,
I'm giving you the middle finger underneath my camera.
you
You're
got to
getting
explain to
all
us
this
free
bird.
Negroes about
You're
where
getting
you
all this
from.
bird underneath this camera. All the wings of this bird.
He had
Um,
he had baby shoes with taps on them.
you didn't have the white baby shoes. Okay. So anyway, Huntsville, where A&M is at the northern part of the state. Alabama State is in the southern, southeast, southwestern part of the state. And so Birmingham is pretty much midway in the middle. So you had a Magic City Classic. Birmingham is also called Magic City.
Not to
So
be
Magic
confused
City,
with a strip club in Atlanta.
not to be confused, yeah, not to be confused with it. Yes, that place. Um, and so what regular not let me say let me change it. What non-college going folk get chance to see, you see a generations of black folk who've gone to college. You see generations of alumni who've gone to, two, three generations went to state, two, three generations went to A&M. And, be like, oh, the teachers and judges and you know, coaches and principals. You'd be like, wow, okay. I'm beginning to see the how education permeates our black education, black people educated at HBCUs and black colleges permeates our society, especially in the state, to where it's like, oh, that you begin to build some pride about it. To your point, when you have when my oldest son went to Tuskegee, grew up, born and raised in LA. He's ready to go to college. He wants to be a vet. He's going to Tuskegee undergrad because he's going to get into Tuskegee vet school. He figured that's the best shot. But he was going to Stillman if he didn't get into Tuskegee, which would have got him the best percentage to go to a pre-professional college. When he came in as a freshman, bro, like the hugest percentage of incoming freshmen were coming out of LA, to your point. So, college educated cats out here who went to white institutions was like, you know what? Try HBCU. So that was pretty cool. So there's a couple of new generations of black folk who are starting to redefine excellence, especially in this case in education, and say, okay, we don't have to roll to anybody's else institution. Let's yep, that's right. Thank you, Taj. Alabama has the highest number of HBCUs in the country, 14. So you can throw a rock and hit two real easy. I ain't want to poo-poo on nobody's, but my college is in the hood.
You could take one of 14 dirt roads and get to a HBCU in Alabama.
I'm gonna give you a bird again. You get another bird for that. So I'm glad we're kicking it off. So even as we think about Black excellence, and I'm gonna add this other term, exceptionalism. We were told, I know you were told, because I was told, man, we got to do it. We got to be twice as good, twice as good as everybody else to get the same results. When did you first learn that being exceptional was the price of admission? Like, in order just to get in the door, I got to be exceptional, not just get in the door. I got to be better than the next cat.
That's different for me because I was raised on competition.
Oh yeah.
And I was raised on a level of competition that most people aren't raised on. So I might be the wrong person to ask, but I'll tell this story.
You got professional athletes in your family.
Yeah, exactly. So we started playing, I don't know how old we were, 7, 8, 6, playing park league basketball. You know, the 6-4 games, 10-6. You know, everybody tackling each other, traveling, and it's one kid that can play for real. That's the star. You know, and we were playing at Park League over here. It's Carson, which is a suburb of LA, and we were the Bucks, and we were sorry. We lost every game, right? And so we was at we was in line trying to get some snacks, and one of the kids said the Bucks suck, and my uncle heard that. He was our coach, and it was on. So we sucked that year, but after the games, we was running laps, training.
After the game.
After games, right? You know, he was like, "You got to pay the price to be a champion." And all I was thinking was like, "Nigga, I want some Fritos, a juice box,
orange slices and juice box."
Yeah, you know. Fast forward the next year, we were undefeated.
Love it, man.
I was raised on like that level of competition.
Wow.
Right. So everything to me was competing. So I didn't think of it any other way. When I said to you about like our bar and how we look at things, that has to shift. I won't fully disclose, but recently I've been having conversations with my daughter. Ongoing, we've had about competing, but now we're talking about another level of competing, right? And her drive is, and I can say this, and she, you know, without violating our private discussion, she just told me, I want to be the best. But that is born in her out of years of pushing competition, right? That doesn't mean she's gonna end up the best, or I'm gonna end up the best, or anybody. But if that's your goal, you gonna end up pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And pretty damn good, more oftentimes than not, means you're successful. Especially in this new world of coddling and comforting. So I knew early on to compete. It wasn't excellence. Another cool story. I get into USC, and I just recently said this. I meet the most smart, creative, cool black dudes I ever met in my life. And we was all sitting around one day talking about SAT scores and GPAs, and I realized that I was like the second lowest. And I probably was the lowest. I just didn't want to kill myself. And they were talking about experiences they've had, or books they've read, or this or that. And I hadn't read those books, and I hadn't had those experiences. They didn't make me feel lesser for that, but they were really just being themselves. And to me, that was inspiration.
Yeah.
And it also, like, I was like, man, we dope. People just don't even know it.
Yeah.
Right. But it also was like, I got to get better.
Yes.
You know, in my bubble, I'm the man. Well, all the men showed up and I wasn't a man no more. So that was the other side. That was the other side of the coin of that excellence, you know? Yeah, you the man in Saginaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, you the man in your town. Come on.
Yeah.
We having a meeting of men. And then I was like, okay. And then here's the challenge. And this is where I see as a fault that we currently have, because men aren't leading. See, men understand hierarchy, and even if you want to be the best, you got to humble yourself to somebody that has more knowledge, wisdom, understanding, that is greater than you in the moment, so you can be greater later. You have to become an apprentice. They know that in the trades. You have to get under a master electrician if you ever want to be one. But we have the attitude of, can't nobody tell me nothing. That's not a masculine attitude. The masculine attitude is hierarchy for understanding.
Yes.
For wisdom. And so what I did was I placed myself, but my whole life's been that. I place myself at the feet of the people I respect. And then you release me into the world and I cut somebody's head off. So I don't know if I totally answered your question, you know, but I've been trained in competition.
Yeah.
What Bane say? I was born in the dark.
That's right. That's right. I love it, man. I don't think the competition was that level for me. It was more so internal. So it's like, hey, listen, hey, every 6 weeks we got them grades. It was like, what they looking like? My mom was like, what they looking like? Anything less than all A's. And it was like, so at a certain point, I was like, oh, okay, this is easy. Hey, my mom has transitioned. She transitioned in 2016. So it's, this year, next month will be 10 years, man. Wow. But I tell people this, and I don't think they really grasp what I'm saying when I say I learned to read in a week. Because when I came home and we had this reading assignments, just learning to read, and anytime I missed or messed up, my mom was putting it on my behind, bro. And after day 3, something clicked. I was like, man, I do not want this butt whooping. So something clicked in my head about words and sentences and what they sound like and what they mean and how to pronounce them. So by the end of the week, bro, I was reading. and fast forward, I remember I was coming out my room. This is me and my mom. Grew up an only child. I have a younger sister, but we like 16 years apart. Shout out to Ashley, big ups. And I remember coming out my room to get some water or something. mom room and she read. And her book thicker than mine, you know, she like the romance novels. And she used to go to them thick books, man. They be like one every like 2-3 days, man. Just be like, yo, I don't read that fast. So I didn't read as fast as my mom. And I figured she had me comprehending all of that. So my competition just on like reading, and then I had a couple of cats at school and, you know, going to the library, picking out these different series growing up. It was like, so there was some competition. It was about reading, man. And then one of the smartest cats that I knew growing up, all that dude did was read. So, so let me, I wanted to say that before I flip to this next question, because you sparked something that I wanted us to kind of unpack. So when we think about what either your parents or your grandparents did, in your case, what they passed down, what were they passing down, looking to pass down, that we have stopped, or our families have stopped practicing? And why do you think that happened? So so for instance, my mom read all the time, so I can see her read. My relatives can see, oh yeah, you know, she reads a lot. She's a reader. That was just her thing. What is something that your parents or grandparents may have done that was a practice that had done well, that done us well, that it's not a family practice or a cultural practice?
So first of all, my mother, like your mother, read them Harlequin romance novels too. White dude with a ponytail, had that white lady with her back arched over a seashell on the beach. my mom was reading those too. It wasn't until I became an adult I didn't realize how much of a horn dog my mama was. I was like, damn, mama, got a little hussy in you.
Hey, divorced that too. My mom just started dating again when I was like 13, 14, so same thing.
Hey man, listen, side note, hey, shout out to my uncle. He gonna know when I say this because he listened. One of my uncles, we was hanging out and he said, yeah, she was a pole dancer. I was like, how old are you? He was like, what should I have said? What should I say? A stripper? I was like, do you call the police, the authorities?
Oh my God.
Old ass. Anyway, he'll get a kick out of that. We make too many excuses and accommodations.
An audience can chime in too on the chat.
The reason or the current situation is the thing to overcome, not the thing that's going to hold you back. You recognize what's going on so you can overcome it, not so you can use it as an excuse to not perform. I see too many conversations that's I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. Right? That's the beginning of the story. You are all those things, okay, blah, blah, blah. But what's the next chapter? When you turn the page, are you going to tell me how you overcame? Or does the story stop right there? Right? I never, my mama said about one of her brothers, he on the spectrum, but they didn't diagnose it back then. Right? But nobody cared. They cared, but nobody cared. Like, okay, but now what? You still have to live in this world. You still have to go. You still got to get it. So what I'm saying is, I'm not discounting people's situations, afflictions, as the old folks say. I'm not discounting any of those things. But what I'm saying is, what's next? You can't tell me that based on the history of our people, we can't overcome. You can't convince me of that. The history's too rich. That's number one. Number two, and I said this before, and it's worth repeating. Excellence is excellence. That does not mean I shame you for being mediocre, but I'm not going to praise you for it. I'm going to point your head up to the next thing. And the last thing is, we both help with a mentoring program. And a couple years ago, I was speaking at our end of the year banquet, and I told them about mountains. And I said, you know, there's a lie about getting to the top of the mountain. I said, that's not completion. It's the base of your next climb.
There you go.
So you have to redirect so you don't get satisfied. And that goes for everything. For us being better men, you conquered a demon and you got rid of a family trauma that's not going to get passed down. You don't say, you have a moment to say, yeah, I did that. But then you go and you conquer the next one. You set your sights on the next thing. Right? I have this thing in my head, whether it's true or not, that my grandkids or great grandkids one day is going to sit around and they're going to be talking. And why is this? Why is that? Oh, because granddad fixed that. Granddad did that. Just like I have reverence for my grandfather. And he put things into motion. My grandmother didn't have a driver's license. Mom raised 8 kids of her own and then a whole bunch of kids around. And my grandfather on the post office salary. Now my family is known as the USC family. He set something in motion that he probably couldn't even envision. But it was based on his principles, his thoughts, his trajectory, and what he just in his core did. Can we honestly say as a people that that's what we do? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was asking, was he focused on education like that? Or it just happened because of something else?
That's a better question for my aunts and uncles to answer. Okay.
Right.
But my mother was.
Definitely. Right.
I know I know what I was raised in was that. Right? I couldn't bounce a ball. I couldn't play. I couldn't do nothing if them grades wasn't right.
That part.
Right? And I was far more celebrated in my family for my academic success than I was for my athletic success. And I just want to say for the record that I was a way better hustler than I was a student. But the GPA looks like I was a good student.
It'll work.
I made it work, dog.
Man, I think you're on to something. That practice of what you just said, you can do what you want, but the grades have, your grades and your effort in school will dictate that. You play all the sports, you can do whatever, extracurricular activities, but the grades my mom was like, listen, I didn't have a curfew in high school. She was like, grades gotta be cool. Then I messed around playing football for basketball season, playing football, made my first C in Algebra 2 and Trig in 9th grade with class, me and two other freshmen, class full of seniors. I made my first C, 78. My mom was like, apparently this sports and school is too hard on you. So you can't play basketball, bro. Didn't even play basketball my whole freshman season. I was like, Mama, we get our report cards 6 weeks. Sorry. But that was the standard, right? So maybe that's a practice that was lost. That practice of you can do whatever you want, as long as the grades are at expectation. If they're not at expectation, the consequence is you can't do it. And so that sets a standard of excellence around academics that fuels everything else. So I think that's a good one. As I'm just reflecting, I wrote down some notes of the practice of my mom being a reader, the practice of competition ended up being a way that's just embedded in what you do. Like, no matter what you are and what environment you're in, you're thinking, how can I be better and how can I keep the pants off this other cat right next to me? And then and needing to be twice as good as the next person, or growing up in the South, being twice as good as the white boy, twice as good as white folk, because if you come in just as good as them, you're not gonna get the opportunity. So you got to be way better. Your results have to be way better, so they have to consider you. I think that was a practice. And to your point, HBCUs need a better policies.
So let me offer this to you. While there's so much validity to being better to get noticed, it also lays credence to them being the standard. And
with the job, how do we establish our own institutions and jobs?
And that's the point. And that's the point.
I see
that will put you back at HBCU.
Yes.
But then leaving at HBCU, how do we establish our own institutions, our own businesses, our own ecosystem? And then say, okay, well, maybe mine doesn't look like X company. But for my community, this is it.
Yeah.
What does it look like if Bob Johnson doesn't sell BET?
Right.
I think that, and I don't fault him for that, because that's, hey, shout out to him, right?
Yeah.
However, I think that we need to have a serious conversation on legacy versus the come up.
Whew. Hey, part 2.
And I think that we're about the come up. However, that works for another community that already has legacy. And that's something we need to talk about. Now, if we're gonna talk community, let's be a community. If we not, then let's stop faking it.
And I always tell, you're gonna hear me say 1,000 times Sunday, it's all about a Black community. It's all about a Black agenda. Even as we think about electoral politics, how do we get off the teat of parties and basically establish our own Black agenda with policies that benefit Black folks on a daily basis and change the fortunes of Black folks on a daily basis, and that's the stuff that we vote for. That's the stuff that we support. Not a party, not a personality, but a policy. And in that, to what you're saying, you said something that was dope, and I want to lift it up because it's pertinent in this moment around the support of HBCUs. Like, if all the black folk in the United States gave $100 to a pot that was dedicated to funding the HBCUs, and if we took this is I heard this idea and I love it, so it ain't mine, but I'm gonna say it. Like, if we pare them down, so if there was educational, academic, professional track, if there was a track of trades, and something in between, then I think we could have some dope focus around our Black education. We get to redefine that Black excellence, and we get to fund it. So I'm pairing that idea, my idea, saying, with your idea around funding. We are on our way to having the mindset of community, the mindset of what community looks like economically, educationally, health-wise, housing, the whole nine. And I think there's I think there's something happening. And I may be thinking different than other folks, but I'm excited about this. Your thoughts? We're running low on time, and so we'll do a couple of extra shout outs. But hey, brother, man, thank you for your feedback, and I'll give you your final.
Man, it's time to have a real honest conversation. It's time to with ourselves. Before you have a community, you got an individual. Individual has to have a real honest conversation with themselves. So, for example, self-reflection. Me. I mean, I see young, beautiful women, right? And they look gorgeous. But I'm too old for condoms. I need an old womb. I need that womb to be like Afghanistan,
Fair.
Just it. The war has ravaged it.
Oh my God.
So the only thing a young girl could do is tell me where her auntie at.
You need some civil rights push?
That's what I'm saying. Lunch counter in Selma. Little we shall overcome. So I know what I'm on.
Vintage.
Hey, I'm just saying. Throwback. Give me that throwback. So I'm 100% honest. So just cause something look good, don't mean it's for you. You got to know who you are, what you about, and your mission, right?
Right.
I think that as a community, we not on mission. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we want, right? Mission does not mean uniformity. Folks can come in different ways, but we still stay on task. Okay?
Right.
And we our eyes are not on the ball as a community. I'm just saying as a community. Right? So shout out to the young ladies. Not that y'all want me, but I don't want y'all either. No,
That's a hell
no.
of a last word, bro. Hell of a last word. Hey, man, listen. I was looking at some of the. I was looking at our numbers. I'm gonna have this call to action right now. We got a goal. We got a goal of 500 subscribers. Once we hit 500 subscribers, it's a different stratosphere for us. So let's see if we can hit that. Let's see if we can hit 500 subscribers. Hey, like, share, subscribe. And whoever you share it with, tell them to subscribe. Because we're trying to hit this number. And once we hit this number, it helps us. It helps the production. It helps equipment. It helps everything. So 500 subscribers, like, share, subscribe. Whoever you share with, tell them to subscribe. That's your call to action. Support Skinny Blacks Lounge. Also support Italian Twine. Black owned watchmakers. They make some great, beautiful timepieces. Man, new one that dropped this week. It's kind of cool. It's kind of dope on the female side. Also, stay tuned. Big shout out to the Gathering Spot, Los Angeles. Yo, SBL, HBCUs on my mind. SBL Live, we taking this on the road. We gonna be live. So look out for that. It's black males only. So at this point in time, we're gonna be there for the next 3 months, April, May, June. If it goes well, they'll extend us out. So we want to do something like this and go even deeper in person. So we're excited. So SBL Live, Gathering Spot, Wednesday evenings. The first one is April 15th, 6 o'clock. So we'll get started about 6:30 to 8, but there's 6 o'clock. Lena and Duke's, Lena Home, Duke Ellington. That's the name of their restaurant there. Come get some delicious food. You know, if you want to drink, you got to drink, get a drink. But come check us out. SBL Live. We're going to do this thing. Brothers want us to do it live. We had an idea to support brothers and what they were doing, help them unpack, help them not be in silos, and come away with new discoveries about themselves and a network of men. And we're looking forward to that. So also big shout out to Dio, wherever you are, not behind the boards tonight. Shout out to Dio, and shout out to you, the listeners who took your time to listen to two cats on this mic, just talk crazy stuff. So we appreciate you. Our usual crew, they come in and out. Big shout out to Brennan, big shout out to Cam. Hey, big shout out to you who tuned in. Thanks, Tosh, for your comments. We appreciate you. And we are out of here. SBL out. Peace.